Segu se wa kweko. Yo chunonya tiligana ranega wo se wa ke to tene uni wa sudade. What kwanu warato.
Yeah.
Can you translate that for us? My name is Tekarontakeh. I'm one of the people who helped to share some of my knowledge and experiences that's in the book. Like you said, it took a long time. It started, I guess, when I was 5 years old, because it took 5 years to write this book, so now I'm 10 years old. But I really like to thank all of you who came here tonight and to show your support. And I hope everybody takes a copy home and share it with your family and friends, because it's important people start to know a little bit more about who we are and what we're about and what we have struggled for. Because most of the time what you see presented on APTN or CBC or so on, they tell you very little. And the thing about it is that the ones of us that came here tonight is that we have all been a part of this. We are basically the story. It's been our lives. From the time we've been children, we've been involved in this. We followed our grandparents, we followed our parents, we followed the people in our communities, and we've dedicated our lives to try to make a better future for our children. Today we hear a lot of talk about, and I see some of you had the shirts on that every child matters, and that is true. And there are many of our young children who have been taken and have been mistreated, they've been murdered, they've been sexually abused, and there's so much horror that's happened in the lives of our people. Not just here in Canada, but it's in the United States, it's in Central and South America. But the thing about this is that it is not just our children. This has been many of your own relations. Many of you probably came from different countries, or your families did. And we know that this abuse of children does not just happen to Native children, but it happens to people all over the world. And we are very sad about all these things that have happened. And people need to know the truth about what has happened. There are many things that are being said today about reconciliation, people look for apologies and so on and so forth. Well, I'll tell you, in our culture, in our ways, there is no such thing as an apology. We do not apologize. In our way, when you do something that is not right, something that is wrong, you fix it. Because an apology is just a word. Prime Minister of Canada made an apology. It's just a word, and Canada has done nothing to better our situation or anybody's situation. The Pope came over, and he didn't do anything different. He did the same thing, made an apology, and finally admitted on his way home is that genocide was committed. But still, they have done nothing, and they will do nothing to make the change. If people look at governments, if people look at churches, they've looked at these organizations, multinationals, that they're going to make a change, they are not. The only ones who could make the change is people like yourselves. It's people. The power of the people is what matters. It is not somebody in a three-piece suit that is going to make the world better for our children. Because it's not just about Native children, it's about all people. Everybody talks about a better future for the world. People will talk about world peace, but nobody has put a formula together that can create world peace. There has to be a willingness on the part of humanity to have such a thing exercised as world peace. And we believe that our people, we do have that formula. We have the formula, but it's got to be the people. It cannot be people who rule and dictate over us. We've heard about people who were slaves. And many people today will talk about how there is freedom here in Canada. There is freedom in the United States. There are freedoms in other countries in the world. But people do not know what freedom is. Because today everybody's a citizen. And a citizen is only one step above being a slave. The only freedoms that you are led to believe that you have are not freedoms, they're privileges. And if you do not pay for the privilege, you will not be able to enjoy it. Only if you pay. In your society, people work their whole lives to try to build some security for their future. They build homes. They raise their children, send their children to colleges and so on. But the thing is, the day you stop paying, they will put you on the street. That house you think is yours is not yours. That land you think is yours is not yours. The establishment decides if you can continue to live there as long as you pay. You are not free to travel unless you have a license. Everything is a license. Everything is about control. And they mislead and make people believe that they are free. That people do not know what freedom is. They do not know what liberty is. Our people, we enjoyed all that. We enjoyed that. Always we enjoyed that. For centuries and centuries we enjoyed that. Then when the newcomers came to this land, many of them started to experience this. Many of them came and lived among our people. Many of them were adopted into our societies. And we treated them equally. Because when we adopted you, we believed in our own way that you were born to us that day we accepted you. And we would never bring up your past, and especially to use it against you in a negative way. We always tried to share with you exactly what was our way of life, how we looked at people. We didn't look at people by the blood that flows in their veins. We went in accordance with what is the mind of the people. We always wanted to know, was your mind compatible to ours? And if it is, then you had a good chance of becoming adopted as our family. We did not make citizens of anyone. We made you equals. And this is what should be taking place around the world. These people look and respect and recognize each other as part of the natural design of creation. It should not be small groups of people to decide. This is why we have been fighting. We know about that way of life. We know about those teachings. We continue to adhere to it in the best possible way we can. But we are constantly being oppressed. We are constantly having this genocide committed. They may not be coming and scalping us anymore. They may not be coming and shooting us down anymore. But there's a psychological war. There's an economic war. There are many types of warfare being committed against our people. And this is what we are trying to get you to understand. Because you're also a victim of all of these things that's going on. Nobody escapes these establishments. And we all have to work together. And these are some of the things we try to express. And when people like Philip were recording these, writing these things, it wasn't just the words of one person. It was many of us contributed to provide the knowledge and information that was passed on to us. We tell you as we have learned it. We tell you as we have come to understand. This is not something that we have just made up. There are many battles that we have fought in our lifetime, our own lifetime. Not counting our parents, not counting our grandparents or our great-grandparents, our own lifetimes. We have been in many very dangerous situations. There were times they wanted to kill us. There were times they wanted to imprison us. They wanted to silence us somehow. But we cannot be silenced. We cannot be silenced. As long as our children are being born, we cannot stop. As long as that water flows for our mothers to give birth, we cannot stop. And we will pass this knowledge on to our children and our grandchildren. And for the faces that are not yet here, we will stand for them. We will fight to protect and defend the rights of the ones who cannot defend themselves. This is who we are. This is what we're about. And I'm very happy to see so many of you. It's nice to know that there are people who are not selfish with their eyes and with their ears to try to learn and understand about who we are. Because the better understanding you get of who we are, the better understanding you will get to know of yourselves. Because creation made us all the same. Made us all the same. We all have that natural birthright, but we've all been denied to exercise our natural birthright. And the only way that can happen is if we all work together. We all make a better future for our children. And we have to start using our own minds instead of somebody else controlling our minds, controlling our thinking with their propaganda. I encourage you all, use what creation gave you. It gave you 2 eyes so you can see the truth. It gave you ears so you can hear the truth. And when the eyes and the ears work together to confirm one another, you have 2 ways. But you know, you only have 1 mouth. So there's only 1 truth. And that's the truth that has to be spoken. You cannot be afraid. You have to exercise. This thing that's inside your head, it wasn't put there just to prevent your skull from caving in. It was meant for you to exercise it, to use it. Creation gave you the ability to make choice. It gave you the right to be able to make decisions. Those are very important things. But something we must always keep in mind, the decisions that we make, the choices that we make, we have the right to. But we also have the responsibility that goes with the decisions that we make. And we need to be aware of these things. We need to be conscious of this. And we need to assist our children in learning. We do not force our children to be what we want them to be. Creation gave every single human being a natural ability. And when we recognize that natural ability of a child, we do not work against that. We help to enable that child to be the best that they could possibly be. Our children will determine what we have done. Our children will determine what we have contributed to the future generations. We, today, in everything we do, our children will be a reflection of that. And if we can start using our minds, if we can start working together, if we can start setting the examples, our children will see that. And that's what we'll be teaching our children. We'll be teaching our children what true love is. That love is not an emotional thing. Love is something you create. Love is something you build. That's what real love is. Many people today look at one another and say, I love you. But there's a difference between love and lust. Create the real love. Create the real love. That when you do see people, that you actually do love and care about those people. And this is what we have been struggling for. We have been struggling to pass this on to our children. We are passing this on to our children so our children can be strong. That our children can set an example to other people. To share this knowledge that has been handed down to us for thousands of years. We continue to follow that. We will never stop. As long as I said, our babies are being born, we will pass on this knowledge and we will pass on this strength. I don't want to sound too serious, but sometimes I do get serious. But again, I say thank you to all of you who have come here to support, and I hope that as you read this book, remember, this book doesn't tell you everything, but it gives you a good beginning to understanding what we're about and why we do the things we do. And when somebody tells you, Louis Karoniaktajeh, the warrior, is a goon, a thug, mobster or any of this stuff. It's not true. In fact, in our language, and that, it's a very, very important thing. It's where our boys, as they grow up, and when their voice begins to change, we start right then and there to teach our boys the importance of our mother, our women relatives, our home, our land, our people. It's for them to appreciate, and our young men to grow up to be real men and never to bring harm to the ones who give life. We must protect and respect, the real respect, not just to be polite to the women, but to actually care and actually ask them sometimes, what is it on your mind? Because today what we see is so many men who are making decisions for women. And it's not right. You're supposed to work together. That's why creation created a male and a female to work together as equals. Many of you have not grown up in this way, but we pass that on to you, hoping at least these few words will help you to change. If you have not been doing right, maybe this might be something to help you change. Use your mind and think. Think, how would you want someone to treat your mother? How would you want somebody to treat your wife? How would you want somebody to treat your daughter? She is not there. She's not part of creation for your own pleasures. You work together. Raise children together. Build family together. And build a future together as equals. And we try to express all these things. There are little bits of everything that we have been able to remember to put into this book. And we encourage you all to read it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If there's something you did not understand, seek us out. Seek us out. And if we know, we'll help to share that. But we don't know everything. That's why we have to work together as a people. Because everybody has a piece of knowledge. Everybody has to work together. All of us, we share our strengths to work together, to make things good. I don't want to stand here all night because I'm not really a man of many words. There are others who came here, others who have so much knowledge, and maybe I should give the floor to them or the stage, but not before I sing a song. No, I don't sing. I thank you for listening.